Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vance. In today's tutorial, I'll be sharing with you how to make this beautiful handkerchief skirt with a peplum on it. This skirt has been trendy and is so beautiful. You can pair it with anything. So guys, if you're interested in learning how to do it, let's get right into it. So this was the one that I made, guys. Are you seeing how beautiful it is? You can use any fabric of your choice. So we are going to first start with a pattern paper. I'm using a pattern paper because I want you to see the clearer picture of what of the story I'm about to share with you. So I've gone ahead to fold my paper in a flay form, just the way you see me doing. So for the waist, we are going to be using the hip. Why? Because it's an elastic. If you use your waist, that means the skirt is not going to enter you, or it's not going to pass through your hip because you're using your waist. So you will divide your hip by 6.28. Whatever you have, you mark it around there that I'm marking currently. After you finish marking it, you will determine the shorter part of the skirt. There are two measurements you need for the skirt, which is the shorter part and the longer part. Now, to achieve the shorter part, you're going to be minusing 1.5 inches because this skirt has a band. So I'll be minusing 1.5 inches from my length. So for my length, I just marked it. You can use whatever length you have and mark. Then from that middle point that I just marked now, that's where you're going to take your longer length. So you still minus your 1.5 inches and then you take your longer length. In my actual fabric, I use 42 for my longer length, so you can use anything that you want. Then whatever I marked on the shorter length, that's what I'm going to mark on this side. Now I'll mark it, and that's how it's going to be. I'll go ahead right now and connect this point into a straight line following my marks. I want to add something to this. Now, if you're making a handkerchief peplum blouse, this is not how to go about it. If you are making a skirt, a handkerchief normal length skirt, like let me say 24 inches length, this is not how to go about it. But because this skirt is longer, if you check on the thumbnail, the skirt is not a short skirt, it's longer. The handkerchief part is longer. That is why I am going through this method for you. Every handkerchief project or every handkerchief style has a way they cut it, but because we are making a handkerchief skirt that is long, that is why I am going through this method. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Are you seeing how it is? Because I want it to be long. If you notice, one side of the skirt is not equal. That doesn't mean the skirt is not going to come out well. It will, but it's just because we want it longer. That is why it's like this. If you check the one that I made, it's actually looking very beautiful and it really came out well. So I've gone ahead to cut the same thing that I cut on the paper on my fabric. So now to achieve the second layer, I'll go ahead and fold my fabric into two just like this. And I'll mark my desired length. So the length I used initially was 12 inches. But I realized that for this skirt to be very fine, the length has to be shorter. So I had to reduce it. So if you're cutting your second layer, don't use 12 inches. Use between 8 inches to 9 inches. That is where the beauty of this skirt is. So don't use more than that. That's my opinion and that is my advice to you. So when I was done, guys, I went ahead to cut it out, and I also went ahead to open up this part. That's to divide this part. So when I was done with it, I went ahead to fold my fabric into two, and I notched the middle part. So after this, guys, I went ahead to set this aside and I brought in my skirt because it's time for us to cut our waistband. So for my skirt now, I went ahead to measure what I have here around the waist. You know, we use the hip, but it's our waist that the skirt is going to stay. So whatever I had here, I had about 20 point something. I went ahead to cut my band. You know, I'm not going to use 20 point something. I'm going to add it up. So I think I got 20.7. So that would be around 40 something. So I went ahead right now to mark it. So after I marked it, I added my allowance. I used 1 inch for the allowance, that's for the sewing allowance for my band. When I was done, guys, I went ahead to cut. I folded the waistband, and the width of the waistband I used was 2 inches. So I went ahead to cut. I used 2 inches for the width of the waistband, and then I used 40 something and half for the 40 something for the length. It all depends on your hip. So this was what I got. So I brought in my elastic. So for the elastic now, I'll be using my waist measurement minus 8 inches. Now I minus 8 inches because this is an elastic. I can't use my exact waist. So my waist is 30, I minus 8, making it 22. So I'll be cutting 22 for the elastic. So now I see, then the width of the elastic is 1 inch. I use 1 inch width elastic for this project. So I'll go ahead now. This is my waistband. I'll go ahead and sew it down by ½ inch, and then I'll also sew my elastic by ½ inch. So this was me when I went to my sewing machine to sew down the elastic. So I went ahead to sew it down by the ½ inch that I said I was going to do initially. Then I will trim it, and I'll open up this side, that's the elastic. Now open it up and sew it down. The reason why I opened it up, because in case you want to pass your rope, it's not going to obstruct your rope from passing through. Are you seeing? So I went in now and brought in my band, and I also went ahead to sew it, close it up by the allowance that I left. After closing it up, I put in my elastic inside the waistband. Are you seeing? Sorry that is not showing clearly, but if you continue with the video, you will see how I was able to do it. So I went ahead right now to close up my band, that's my fabric. You know that the elastic is inside, so I'm just closing it up. So when I'm done with this, guys, I'll go ahead now and start stitching on my elastic. So this was when I was stitching on the elastic. I was dragging it, I was stitching and I was dragging it, so it could give me that ruche effect around the waist, just like this. So the next step I did after this one was to give a spacing. So I gave about 0.75 spacing, or ½ inch spacing. That's how your rope is going to pass through. So after you finish sewing the first one, you give space for your rope. But for me, I am not going to be using rope for this skirt. But if you want to use rope, make sure you give an allowance where the rope is going to pass through. So this was when I was done. This is my skirt now. I want to start attaching the second layer. So now for the second layer, I will divide my skirt like this. Then I will notch, so that I can start placing the second layer. So when I notch, the notch, you know that I've already notched this second layer, so the notch is going to meet the notch, just the way you see me doing, and I'll go ahead and pin it down. I'll arrange the other side just the way you're seeing me do, and I'll also go ahead and pin it down. Make sure you're arranging properly before you pin, so that your skirt is not going to squeeze at a point. So I'll do the same thing for this other end too. I'm going to also arrange, and then I'll pin down. So when I'm done pinning this down, I'll flip it over to the other side of our skirt, and I'll also go ahead and place the notch of the second layer and the notch of our skirt together. I'll pin. I'll do the same thing for this other side. I'll also go ahead and pin, just the way you see me doing. I'll also do the same thing for this part. So when I'm done pinning, guys, I'll go ahead now and hem all of the tip of my skirt, the upper layer, the down part of the skirt. I'm going to hem all of it, and I'll also sew the waist round. So this was when I was done with the hemming and then sewing the round waist. Are you seeing that I'm done with all of that? So the next thing I'm going to do now is to introduce my band. So this is the band, guys, when I was done sewing it. Are you seeing how fine it is already? This is my perfect waist. So I'll go ahead and bring in the skirt, and I will attach the band to the skirt. I will sew it down, and then that will be it for the sewing of this skirt. So this is the final look, guys. Thank you for watching this video to the end. I will see you in my next one, and do not forget to subscribe. Bye, guys. So this is my waistband when I was done sewing it. Are you seeing how stretchy and how fine it is already? So now if you want to attach your rope, this is the time for you to attach your rope. So this is my skirt. I'll go ahead and attach this skirt and the waistband together. I'll go to my sewing machine and sew it down, and then that's the final look for our skirt. Thank you guys for watching my video to the end. Hope you learned something today. I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.